Kelly Vaughn, and welcome to Inside Indy. And folks, October is fast approaching, and October, whether you realize it or not, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And here to make us aware and beyond, her name is Colleen Bolden Smith. Not only is she on the board for an organization called Pink Ribbon Connection, she's a great friend of mine as well. And she's also a model. She's a board member, but she's also a model, will be a model in the Pink Ribbon Connection Stars of Pink fashion show. Welcome, Colleen, to Inside Indy.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Tell us about the organization Pink Ribbon Connection, what they do and what you do as a board member.
Sure. Well, Pink Ribbon Connection has been around since about 2006. It is a 501(c) organization that is dedicated to helping breast cancer survivors and their families navigate some of the trials and tribulations associated with breast cancer. So when you are newly diagnosed, you don't know what to do or where to go. And so our organization really kind of steps in with that to help. So we do a number of different things, such as peer counseling. So if you're a newly diagnosed or anyone with breast cancer and you want to talk to someone else who's gone through that journey, we will basically coordinate that for you and facilitate that. We give away a lot of free supplies, such as bras and wigs and hats and scarves and prostheses. We do a lot of education. So we have a number of professionals that come in and do seminars for breast cancer patients and survivors, such as, what's involved in reconstructive surgery. So we try to be a great resource in our areas for those who are going through this journey of breast cancer.
Wow. Okay. And it is a lot to think about. And if you haven't been through it, you really don't know. So could you tell us a little bit about those trials and tribulations through your own journey? Because you are a two-time breast cancer survivor, right?
That's correct, 2 times.
Wow.
So my initial diagnoses came in 1998. I felt a lump and I began to follow it myself. And I went to see, I called a doctor and went in to see the doctor, and they felt like it was nothing. They really thought it was just a cyst. And I can remember this was about in March. So I kept, looking for it. I couldn't find it sometimes I could, but I was just uneasy with it. So again, I kind of pushed it and began to advocate for myself to make sure that I didn't have a problem. So I think in about October it was, I went back in for a routine mammogram at that point, and they felt something had changed. That was followed by a sonogram, and that was followed by a doctor calling me at 8:00 on a Friday night to say, you have breast cancer. And wow. I will tell you, I looked at the caller ID and I thought, what doctor calls at 8:00 at night?
Right.
But he did, and he said, and I need you to come to my office the next morning at 8:30. So, that's just such a difficult thing to hear when you really don't know what stage you're in, how advanced it is, or what have you. So It wasn't until that next morning that I was able to hear more. And really, all I could hear was him say, it's early and it's about 95% curable. So with that, I began to relax a little bit and thought, my God's got the rest for sure.
Right. Praise God for that. Okay. Wow. So when you get that news, though, what does that feel like? Were you able to sleep that night, or what? What?
No way. Matter of fact, you don't sleep for quite some time. But I just remember staying awake just about all night because, again, you've got the diagnoses, but you don't know how problematic it is. So the next morning was better, and I took my husband with me to the appointment because you need some additional ears. You really, as a patient, you can't hear. You don't know what they're saying. It's kind of overwhelming. But again, when I heard 95% curable, that gave me some reason to relax a little bit. So after that, I had a sonogram and a number of additional tests. It involved basically some surgery, a lumpectomy. And because it was early, I didn't have to have like chemotherapy. So I was blessed from that respect.
Mm.
And I was good for 20 years until 2019. Once again, I was checking myself out, found a lump, thought this doesn't seem right. I called to schedule a mammogram, and they said, do you need a diagnostic one or a regular one? I'm like, what do you mean? They said, are you having a problem? I said, yeah, I think so. So with that, they scheduled a diagnostic mammogram, which led to a sonogram, which led to some additional tests, which led to a new diagnosis of breast cancer.
Wow.
Interesting enough, same breast, same type, which is kind of, I think, unusual, but yeah.
Was it in the same area?
No, not exactly. Yeah, close, but not exactly.
Okay. Wow. So what were your thoughts the second time around? Did you feel like, been down this road before, not terribly, I've survived 20 years, I got this? What were you thinking?
Absolutely. I was a lot calmer this time because I did feel like, I've been very good about examining myself and staying on top of my mammograms, which is so important. And so I knew that if it was a problem, I didn't have it. I had not had it for a long time because I had been checking myself. But yes, it's still a little frightening, but I was a lot calmer this time. And I've got, great education since that time. I've got great doctors, a great team of doctors that I've been working with for over 20 years. So, a lot of the uncertainty that I experienced at the first time just simply didn't exist.
Okay. So do you know what kind, because you said something, the kind you had, and I heard a doctor say that one time that every bout of breast cancer is different. Some may be more aggressive than others. Is that, or when you went through this, is it pretty much all the same when they talk to you about it?
Well, are you asking me about the various types? And there certainly are various types.
Okay, there are various.
And I had even gone through genetic testing to see if the type that I had was something that ran through my family, and it did not. So the result of the genetic testing indicated that it was environmental versus hereditary.
Mm.
So again, for me, it was very early. It required additional surgery. The first time I had radiation, second time I did not need radiation, simply surgery. So again, I've been very blessed from that respect, and also did not have to have chemo. Okay. And so now I'm 2 years from that 2019 diagnosis, and it's all good.
Now, can I ask you, and I hope this isn't personal, but when you find a lump, and a lot of times they'll say what something is, but what that really feels like to a person, because some people just have lumpy breasts, period. So when how small did that feel? Would you say a dime, a nickel, when you felt it? Tinier than that? The
first time it was more like much smaller than a dime or a nickel. It just felt like a little BB size thing.
Wow, you were on it, girl.
Yeah. And the first time, of course, when I kept feeling that, they kept telling me it was a cyst. And when it ended up being breast cancer, they said to me, well, you're probably good that you had a cyst because the breast cancer was situated behind the cyst. So the second time it was really small as well. And, the second one didn't feel like the first one, but it was in an odd place and it was new. And so that's what caught my attention to it.
Okay. So now we are going to talk about let's talk about the event. And then I want to go back to the audience because you really are empowering women and men for that matter, because they can be a part of this process too. Absolutely. And possibly saving somebody's life who's watching. So I do want to go back to your journey because it's very powerful. If nothing else to remind us, we need to get that done. But you've got an event coming up. It's Saturday, October 9th, right? Tell us what's happening.
It is a fabulous fashion show called Stars of Pink, in which there are many models, all of whom are breast cancer survivors and are medical professionals. So it is at the Marriott downtown Indianapolis. Starts at 10 o'clock, 10 to 2. And one of the most inspiring parts of this will be the balloon release. that's done in the room. All these beautiful balloons are launched into the air in memory of or in support of breast cancer, people who have traveled the breast cancer journey. So it's a great event. There'll be vendors, there'll be food, there'll be wine, there'll be fun.
All right.
So definitely want to encourage anybody who's not been before to come out because it's a really great event. And it is our annual fundraiser, our major fundraiser, so that we can continue to do all the things that we do for the women that we support and the men that we support. Because you're right, there are some men breast cancer survivors that often participate as well.
Okay. Yeah. And I've even heard stories where it was the husband who found the lump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's good for, they're one and they should be aware of each other's bodies. So, well, this sounds absolutely wonderful. And you're going to be modeling, right?
I am. This is probably the third time that I've modeled. And so we'll be doing 2 segments. One will be evening wear and one will be a casual look. And the clothing is coming from a boutique called Secret Ingredients. And so it's a great little place at 56 in Illinois. So this last, Tuesday, I went in and got my model clothes fitted and picked out all of my accessories. So it'll be great. It'll be fabulous.
Okay. And they have some really cool stuff. I've been in there before. So lots of cool, fashionable, trendy. I mean, it's a fashion show just walking in there.
It is. She's great.
Okay. So what would you tell people out there who are watching, especially women, and they haven't gotten that exam or they have not had a mammogram lately? What do you say?
I say, get on it. I talk to a lot of women, I just, ask, well, do you do self-exam? So go, well, no, I don't do that. And I tell you that has saved my life twice. I do believe. There's the fact that I was checking out myself. Because, sometimes when you go to the doctor, they're not, I don't want to say they're very not thorough, but, sometimes it's not, they don't know your body like you do. Let me put it that way. And so if you feel like something's odd or something's wrong, I think, you really have to be in tune with yourself so that you can advocate for yourself as well.
Right. I agree.
If you're not scheduling your mammograms, I want to tell you to do that. If you're not doing self checks, I want to encourage you to do that as well.
Okay. Let's go over the details again for the Pink Ribbon Connection Stars of Pink Breast Cancer Survivor Fashion Show. October
the 9th, 10 o'clock. If you want to get tickets, you can call our office and get it that way, or you can check out our website. Our website is pinkribonconnection.org. So certainly that is one way to make contact. It's kind of a glitzy affair, but not over the top. So any attire will work. It is a fundraiser, and we appreciate the support. And the balloon launch again will be fabulously touching. So my tip is make sure you bring a tissue because there will be tears flowing on that day. Lastly, I'll say when the models come down the stage, you get to hear their breast cancer story. So there, you get to understand, how long, how many, what their journey was. Some of the husbands participate as well, so it's not all for women.
Okay.
So it is really a nice event, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. That's a very, it can be a very personal thing. We appreciate you opening up because hopefully you've impacted someone's life today.
I hope so. I really do.
Colleen Bolden Smith, who is on the board for the Pink Ribbon Connection and is a model in the upcoming fashion show. Thanks so much for joining us here on Inside Indy.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. And we'll be back with more here on Inside Indy after this.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
And we're back here on Inside Indy, and we've got another huge event coming up in Indianapolis, and not only just a wonderful event, but a wonderful cause. And it's a wonderful doctor who puts this all together, and she is Dr. Lori Buzzetti, who's a MD, medical doctor, and she's the founder and the president of So Big Mountain House Maternity Home. Welcome, Dr. Buzzetti, to Inside Indy.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And don't you love this? Like, we can just do this from home and
Yes, it is. It's great. It works well.
and spread the word about your wonderful organization and a big event you have coming up. But before we get into the event, let's talk about So Big Mountain House and what it is and how you got started with this.
Sure. So Big Mountain House is a maternity home for pregnant women that are in need, and they can come and we provide shelter and food for women that are in just unsupported situations. And so while they're living with us, they can we connect them with resources and just help them to get back on their feet so that they can support their family when they leave. And so this dream was birthed when I was working at St. Vincent Medical Center and the hospital. And I was working in the women's clinic as the supervisor there. Over the resident clinic. And while I was working, I saw a lot of women that were just struggling and in some desperate situations. They were living out of their car, or they were needing prescriptions so that they could get more money at the shelters. And some women just sat crying in our office because they thought abortion was their only option to get out of their desperate situation. So just through that, God gave me a picture in my mind of a home where women would feel loved and would have opportunities to choose life.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and the last time, because we had an in-studio interview with you, and you remember me breaking down. That's the only time I can recall that I just broke down on the set, because you said you pretty much, left your practice to pursue this vision that you have. Yes. And man, I mean, that is so powerful. So when you mentioned earlier that a lot of the women are in challenging situations when they come there. So can you talk about some of those situations, some of the examples of some of the things they go through? Why are they alone?
Sure. Some of them are, we've had one woman that had a full-time job and was able to support her child, and she suddenly developed a complication with her current pregnancy and was put on bed rest. And having lost her job, she couldn't pay her rent anymore and was on the verge of being evicted with no place to live because she didn't have any family in the surrounding area. So she came to live with us, and her complications lessened, which we were excited to see. She was able to go to term and then was able to get back on her feet and support her family. So sometimes it's just a temporary thing like that. Sometimes people come to Indianapolis for a relationship and that doesn't work out. And then they're kind of left alone without any resources. And so they get connected to us through places like the Women's Shelter, or the Women's Care Center, or the Pregnancy Life Centers. And then we start going through the interview process to see if she feels that we'd be a good fit for her situation.
Wow. Okay. So, and again, I just think what you're doing is so awesome, because having a child, that's just like, I don't have any children, but I can't even imagine, everything that you're thinking about that comes with that, and especially being young and no money and all of that, all those different variables. because it can come at some of the most inopportune times. And then to be in the midst of that, which would seem like a storm to a lot of women, to have someone like you, an organization like yours to turn to know there's somebody there to help. That's just incredible. And I think that's what a lot of people are, if you have those kinds of solutions and that kind of support, then the person is less likely to not even think about not going through with it. It's the love that's coming. I mean, you were just like the perfect role model for, which is really a nationwide issue and debate right now. There were more of Dr. Buzzetti's, I think we'd have the problem solved, So really, it's about making the sacrifice and loving our neighbors. Let's talk about the event, time, date, and location, and get people, because are you sold out already though for that?
We just sold out yesterday.
Oh.
So we have, but you can still get involved. So our event is on October 7th. And it's at the Golf Club of Indiana in the Cardinal Room. And we are sold out. We are starting a waiting list in case some people can't show up. So you can always reach out to us. And then we also will have an online silent auction. So you can still register for our event and then participate in the online bidding for the night. And then we still have sponsorships. So if what we're talking about strikes and touches your heart and you want to support us, then you can be a sponsor for our event as well. So, and that's also on our website.
Okay. And give that website again.
Sure. The website is sobig.org.
So big. Okay, folks, easy to remember. Now, do you need like in-kind donations? Obviously money's always good, right?
Yes.
But you mentioned a lot of the materials and supplies that often these moms need. Is there anything that you accept in that respect?
Yes, we do. We accept new and gently used items. And so items for the babies, items for the moms, items to help us just in our day-to-day care of the house, cleaning products. We do have an Amazon wish list, and you can find us on that under So Big. And then if you have an item that you'd like to donate for the silent auction that you think would go well, then that people could bid on, we are also accepting things like that.
Okay. So tell us just maybe one or two of your silent auction items, so they'll get an idea of kind of like what you're expecting.
Sure. So we have some wonderful items. Some of them there's a new restaurant in Carmel called Tukis, and that the executive chef has offered to make have 4 exclusive seats at the table. You can have your go beforehand and pick out your wines for the night and just kind of create the menu that you want. And so that'll be on there. We have a dinner we have a couple live auction items. So dinner at the Lucas Estate for 10 with a private estate.
Nice.
We have a Colts suite package for 4. We have, what other things do we have?
I think after the cold suite, I don't think you need anything.
We have
quite well with that.
sessions, yeah. So rock climbing, fun experiences, bowling, that sort of thing too. So
okay, very good. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fabulous event, and we just appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, and getting the message out there about So Big Mountain House. And now what about furniture? Or like say when the women are leaving, sometimes once they get on their feet and get it together, is there ever a need for things like that for when they're transitioning?
Yes. So we do have, oftentimes women need to furnish their homes. And so if you do have some furniture, some of the issue is they stay with us sometimes for up to a year. So if you're willing to store it for us and then help them then as they're ready to move out, that'd be great.
Okay. Well, it sounds good. Well, Dr. Buzzetti, thanks again for coming on, updating us. And will you stay in touch and let us know how things are going? And I know one more question I want to ask you, because you house how many at the house?
We have 4 women at the house, and we're currently full. And then if they have a child that is 10 or under, then that child can come to live with them at the house as well. And then their babies. So currently we have 4 women, 2 children, and 1 baby. So it's
okay. So But I
Yeah.
know in your mind you're thinking you'd like to expand some point. Any plans for expansion?
We do eventually want to expand. So we are starting to feel like we've created a template that we have now and that we like. And so probably in the next year or two, we'll start looking at having another location in Indianapolis.
Okay. That's what I thought. Because man, what you're doing is just awesome. And the more you do, the more you're going to just help these moms, with their babies. And I think it's just awesome what you're doing. Dr. Lori Buzzetti, medical doctor, founder and president for So Big Mountain House Maternity House. Thanks so much for joining us on Inside Indy.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it.
And thank you all for joining us. I'm Kelly Vaughn. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.